welcome. It's really exciting. We've done a couple of these in the past, and ages. So it's nice to get all you guys here to Vancouver to see the game. Some of you I recognize a lot. Some of you I read forum posts.
Actually, you know, we should go around the table real quick.
I don't know, Rogers. Yeah, I was just
get
going
everybody's names and online
that
names.
would be a good idea.
Okay, I'm James, also known as Helping Hands, with the stream game.
I'm Will, also Tommy, Showcaster.
Seva, aka Joel.
Gene, Complexity. I'm Jason, I'm your Blade Cypunk.
I'm Mark, also known as Yoink.
Cool, you can tell the shoutcast.
That's right. Together, we form Voltron. Two of us.
I'm Florian, general mistake.
Karsten, Imperial Dane.
Okay.
Bernard Krebs.
I'm just David.
I don't pronounce it last name, right? It's all consonants. Literally, all consonants.
I'm Bridger from Tales of Heroes.
Cool.
Rogers, Sam from RP.
Pounder, that's my name. Seriously, man, I had no idea until I saw it in the message. Like, I was just like, Pounder's a pretty cool like online name. And it's like, oh.
For real.
I mean, honestly, I would have done the same thing if that was my name. It's pretty awesome.
Should have tried harder. So I thought, you know, we were talking a bit about Relic. Somewhere in here is a PowerPoint. Now this is actually something that
It's broken.
I don't know where this is started. Okay, so one of the things we did, and this I think will be reasonably familiar in terms of the story for a lot of you, and I'll try and go through it kind of quickly. I actually did this as a presentation to the when the press came up here at Relic, at least at the old Relic, and I went over to London and delivered a presentation when we sort of first launched COH. We were showing the very first Regev meat grinder level that I think some of you probably got to play at Gamescom. That was kind of where it all kicked off. But one of the things we wanted to do was sort of go back in time a little bit and talk about the original game and why we were building the second game and sort of the hallmarks of Relic and what Relic meant and what we were striving for. And even though it was, I think, a challenge over the last couple of years, we still tried to push forward in terms of the quality and the sort of the authenticity. A large part of what I'm doing now is kind of the higher level sort of tone and delivery, trying to work on those elements of quality. So I moved from the sort of the systems designer on the original to the game director now, and so I've got an overview of more things that are going on in the game. So that's been a really interesting challenge this last couple of years, and trying to keep pushing quality forward while we're dealing with unfortunate things like THQ's demise. So and we can talk a little bit about some of that stuff, some of the things that it did to the team. When we started the original, we had these goals, and this literally was up on the wall. Some of these things. Create the highest rated RTS of all time was literally up on the wall. We had 95.
We actually succeeded.
Check.
Yeah, we got close, and that's a real. That was a real challenge for us. From obviously it promotes the drive for quality, but it also promotes a lot of revisitation of things, and that's why the original Company Heroes took something like 44 months. So it was a long time. For those of you who played the campaign, I know you guys are all hardcore, so you might not have. The second opening cinematic with the Douglas DC-3 thing, or the C-47 crashing and the flak and all that kind of stuff. 26 iterations. I went through 26 different versions. So that was probably the most expensive piece of content I think Relic has ever done. Just a sort of single piece of content. I mean, it looks spectacular, and we got some mileage out of it. But in this day and age, it's a challenge to build games like that. But I think, goal-wise, I think we did a pretty good job. We met most of those. And what that vision meant was that, there's a whole bunch of features that we had to put into the game. And so that led, I think, to the elements of innovation in the gameplay and a bunch of new features that people hadn't seen a lot in RTS games before. And just the general tone of the game was all driven out of those kind of dynamic visions. So the result, I think, was pretty solid. Most importantly, we're setting the tone for the franchise legacy, and we do view Company of Heroes as a long-term franchise. There's the first one, there's the second one. I'd love to do a whole bunch more until I can retire.
Where did you guys in the beta for Company Heroes 1?
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
Sweet.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I remember some of the feedback. Maybe it's selective from the beta, but I know one of the things that came up the most is that we didn't have mirror matches.
Yes. I remember that.
And then when we put mirror matches in, that was the thing that probably came up most. In the beta. So
Now
it's got to change. So legacy-wise, so these numbers are actually a little out of date now. What we're finding with our metrics, and this is something really interesting, we have a metrics guy in-house now who's analyzing both our historical data and current data from the game, and we're continually refining the telemetry that we're gathering. Every sort of few days we try and get some more queries and some more data coming out of the beta. 254,000 unique players is actually quite a bit low now. The game COH sort of puttered along at about something like 50,000 uniques a month, 60,000 uniques a month. And then opposing fronts hit, and Quizal, the sort of the gameplay server stuff, all of a sudden it was up at like 120, 130, and it just continued to go up and up and up and up. And then we'd see crazy little spikes, like when the Humble Bundle, we did the Humble Bundle last, it was several months ago, and all of a sudden it's just like, crazy.
We broke our concurrent record of online players in
During that time, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
12,000 something.
So the recent, as you guys are certainly aware, unfortunate side effect of all of this is that Quizal servers were shut down. They were bought by Ubisoft, and so we had to move to Steam. And it happened a lot more quickly than we were anticipating. So we don't have all the things that we used to have, but the good news is that we want to get all that stuff back. So what we're going to be doing with our own internal technology, a lot of it based on the Coho stuff that we did, we're connecting that back into the game, ramping up. We'll talk a little bit about that later. We'll be rolling out new features in COH2 and then into COH. So we'll get all that stuff back up. We have to kind of build, in a way, sort of starting from scratch, which is unfortunate. I think we keep in contact with you guys for the most part.
Yeah.
I've only been here twice in the last 6 years, so not a good track record.
I don't know. That's hopefully not a lie. I remember we were talking about what was next for the game. The Eastern Front expansions came up a whole bunch. We actually did some design on the Eastern Front expansion. I think around the time we were doing Tales of Valor. And realized that it wasn't, we were going to have a challenge to be able to do what we wanted to do, and for what it was going to cost at the time to add another expansion to COH. So there was some reluctance to do that. But I think, moving forward, it gave us some time to kind of mature a bit, the technology to mature, and for GeForce to get the 680s out. We can all run a game. So where next? We're kind of talking about that. Obviously, there's no surprise. This was kind of like, dun dun dun, what are we doing? The Soviet Union, yay. So you guys have seen all of this kind of stuff. But one of the things that was a big impact for some people on the team and also for the press was to compare the scale and contrast of these fronts of World War II. So Battle of Normandy, we've seen Saving Private Ryan, and it looked like 1 million people died. But it doesn't crack the top 20, and that's just World War II. That's not even the rest of it. Now this actually not just World War II. That should say 20th century. So we're dealing with the Eastern Front, and there's a bunch of stuff about Stalin. You guys know that guy's a dick. There's some. I think there's some movies in here. I wanted to show. Well, we'll show. No, we won't actually. I'll skip all this. huge sacrifice. This is part of, so I think people have maybe heard me talk about it, but we took a look at the high level of the game vision. And the original one was very sort of focused on Normandy and kind of Western Front. So we needed something that would fit the Eastern Front tone, but also trying to find the vision for Company of Heroes as a whole and what that would mean for the franchise, and make it setting agnostic. So, you know, Company of Heroes isn't a World War II game, it's a Company of Heroes game. And if we want to, we can move it elsewhere, into different time periods, different, you know, whatever it is. I don't know if I talk about this later, so I might be rambling. Let the player experience the ruthless truth of war. And that comes out of a quote by Vasily Grossman, who was a writer. That sort of forms the inspiration for our character in the campaign. The session-based, you know, every battle tells a story. I think we've heard that, and it's all about that kind of ebb and flow and back and forth and comebacks and craziness and randomness and variance and all those kinds of things that make Company of Heroes feel the way it is about delivering the feeling of a narrative in every battle. And I suck, so for me, you know, I might not win the war, but if I can win some of those little battles, if I can do something cool in the game and get a grenade off at the right time and ult over a piece of cover and sneak around a building and throw another grenade, that makes me feel good. And I can engage with the game at that level, even though I have a tendency to lose. And my ELO is, I think, about as low as it gets. Close to 0. So I don't get auto-matched very often with anybody. So anyway, we're talking about, you know, again, more scale, and there is a video in here. There's one video I wanted to show you. I don't know if this is it. Maybe. Or actually, no, that is like, what does that do? Okay, we'll move through. Oh, this is something. So we talked about the scale. So I did this document based on casualties, and the size of the circle obviously indicates the number of casualties suffered in these battles. So these are basically the biggest battles of World War II. Normandy is kind of over here just for scale. That's the Battle of France in 1940. This is sort of the Battle of Berlin, Zeylau, kind of that area, just the last little push of the war, East Prussia. That's Königsberg, I think, or yeah, which is now Kaliningrad.
Yeah, I think so.
And then obviously Leningrad, Moscow, Rzhev, Stalingrad, Kiev. There's a couple of them. So you get a comparative size scale of what the impact of the war was like. And so you have, you know, somewhere between 8.5 and 11 million Soviet military dead. And in comparison, you know, Canada lost, I think, around 45,000 dead in World War II. The Americans about 400 and something thousand on both fronts. Terrible losses, but obviously an order of magnitude. And so the nice thing is, well, not the nice thing, there's nothing nice about it. This is, to a great degree, is kind of the template for our theater of war. So as we keep going with theater of war, it gives us the opportunity to explore these areas, even though the campaign gives you, you know, sort of here and then all the way back. But now the theater of war gives us a chance to dig in and explore more of these battles and deliver more sort of history and depth and, you know, co-op scenarios and those kind of things. So that's kind of the idea. Order 227, which we kind of had as a little video that we showed in the game. I don't know if you've seen it. So obviously the brutality of the conflict was something important as well, and that's, you know, we're trying to get a little bit of that across and continue to sort of delve into that and try and do a little more justice to those kinds of things in the sort of modes and additional support of the game. Okay, so I don't know if there's a ton of extra stuff in here. Maybe I'll try and show one of these videos because it was something that we showed to the press.
Soviet retreat.
I'm trying to Well, let's see what this one does. We use it as a method to say that, look, you know, we look at the video and then look at what we've done in the game in terms of trying to capture the feel of some of the combat and the conditions, and this is sort of you know, our a little bit of our authenticity benchmark in what we've been trying to deliver in terms of features and support.
Well, you couldn't go back, so
Yeah, you couldn't go back.
So anyway, that was kind of, you know, a quick wrap up to the presentation. Just yeah.
Secret lab.
Don't get too excited.
Oh.
Don't get too excited.
There they are.
There it is. I tweeted this.
Yeah, I remember.
Did you?
Come on,
Find that white. That's so funny.
I'm new to Twitter, so we were.
I'll just Photoshop the black out when
I did
I.
some features.
Features.
No. So what we do is we have a backlog of features that we want that we put together. We have a roadmap that we're starting to build. We've got people that we're going to start sort of putting towards some of these things. We've got designs going on some of that stuff. So this is in no particular order, and this is what we call a backlog. So it's just stuff that we want to get through. But what we want to do is start kind of figuring out our priorities for these things, and that's a way that you guys can help us.
15 sticky notes before September, guys. You heard it here first.